My name is Arjan. I'm one of two founders of a beauty wellness company called Jolie. We're focused on a critical condition that the beauty industry has largely neglected, and that's the quality of the water that we shower in. We've all sort of paid attention to the water that we drink, but the water we shower in is so fundamental to the quality of our hair and our skin. We launched about 19 months ago with a filtered shower head, removes chlorine, heavy metals from your water for better skin and hair. And today, I'll talk about our approach and philosophy when it comes to marketing, which really is all about one end goal, and that's creating conversation. Before I go into the presentation, I'm just curious in the room, who here is founder/brand owner by raise of hand? And what about marketing on more of the performance paid side? And more on the brand side? Anyone from that side? One and only, nice. Two, cool, awesome. And I really love that presentation, Jono. That was very relevant because what I'm about to speak towards, the 5 criteria of friction, at least everything that I'm talking about here, there's at least one criteria. To orient the conversation, I'm just going to show a slide and talk a little bit about our performance, and all of this is due to the way in which we've approached our marketing. So 19 months, Jolie's on a $27 million run rate for this year. We'll surpass that. We have a subscription component with the filter. Every 90 days, the filter in the shower head needs to be changed. 80% of people take subscription, just under 8 million in ARR from the current subscriber base. We have over 85,000 customers. Jolie sold to every state. Over 10,000 pieces of unique content, not created by us, but created by our customers, and I'd say brand advocates. I'll get to that in a bit. And then we're not a direct-to-consumer company. We are omni-channel. We're in Goop, Erewhon, Saks, 50-plus hair salons, and that's growing quite quickly. The next slide, this has all been done profitably, and the reason why we've been able to grow at such a pace with momentum is because we've been doing, we haven't been relying on paid ads. And I'll get to exactly how we've approached our marketing. So there's a primary belief and a primary end goal, and all that we do goes to that. The primary belief, and this might sound obvious, is people influence people. Not digital ads, but people. The end goal is connected to that. Create conversation. You need people to create conversation. The more people, to have conversation, you need more than one person. And the more people you have having that conversation, then you start to build a community. And that's been the single thread for the success of the brand. So people influence people. What do I mean by that, and how does it manifest for Jolie? We, from day -60, have been seeding product because we know that the product works. We stand behind the product. Let's get it in the hands of people so they can talk about it. So we've seeded now about over 300 units a month to people of influence, and that doesn't mean you have 100,000 followers, but those that shape culture, whether that's beauty, whether that's fashion, whether that's art, all the fitness, movement, leisure, all the different verticals that we pay attention to. We all shower. We're very lucky to work with a product that's applicable to everyone. That's certainly an advantage. And the focus on this strategy from prior to launch, which, by the way, we didn't see the results of this until 5 to 6 months after we've been in market, when that momentum really started to uncover and show itself, is that we have over 10,000 unique pieces of content in 19 months that we've paid $0 for. The cost of the good and shipping is what we've paid. This is, I think, roughly 1,600 pieces of content on one slide. We are repurposing this for paid ads, and all that we're doing on an organic perspective allows us to spend more on our paid marketing. And there's a quick video to show how that comes to life.
Jolie, skincare care if you're not going to address the root of the problem. your shower water.
A Jolie shower head, something different about when you use the Jolie shower head.
Okay, small filter hidden inside the shower head removes 85% of chlorine and heavy metals from your water. It comes with the cutest plumber tube in the world, and this tiny but mighty wrench out for an easy install. Jolie filtered shower head was the best decision I've ever made.
Here's to happier and healthier skin and hair.
This is a video that we created, a little bit of a compilation of the UGC. But the team and I, we look at each other and half joke around that it's now out of our control because the customer base has become the sales force. And that's the most unbiased. If we had an unlimited budget and unlimited resources and you asked us from a marketing perspective, what would you do? It's not take out a billboard in the most trafficked area of the world or have the most ads online. It's how do we create conversation at every single dinner table across the country? And by getting product in people's hands and having them use it, that's happening, whether it's online or literally at the dinner table. It's not the only thing we're doing, but what surrounds it allows this conversation to spread like wildfire, and I'll get to the way in which we're doing it. As I was mentioning, this is really the most efficient return on spend, even though you can't measure it. And it is a bit of a gut feeling in looking at the business and how the business is going as we scale our seeding efforts. If one person sells one Jolie, it's the cost of goods plus shipping. If that's lower than our CAC, it's a win. It's as simple as that. This has also resulted in the earlier efforts of creating this sort of cycle now, and a sense of FOMO, where every day at this point we're getting 50 to 100 people reaching out, whether it's email, direct message, I need a Jolie, and they're pitching their services for why they should get gifted one, which gives us leverage to direct the content. We don't say yes to everyone, but going back to one of the criteria around brand risk, and being someone who comes from a very branded, precious background, we've let the guardrails down a bit, and it's really proven to work very well. Create conversation. Again, we're very lucky to have a product that everyone uses, a shower head. Yes, we're reorienting it as a beauty wellness tool, and there's education there, but we also have this beautiful lens of water, and water is very elastic. It allows us to, of course, talk about water as it relates to beauty, which is our sort of North Star, but we also love to explore the connection of water as it relates to art, food, drink, movement, leisure, culture, and I'll show the ways in which we're doing that. Because frankly, that's what interests people. We don't want to be, in front of a figurative room talking about shower heads and our hair and skin all the time. Let's create some interesting conversation. These are activities that are not unique. We did not invent any of these. It's not the fact that we're doing them, it's how we're doing them. It goes back to the lens that we use. We're super focused. And it all, again, goes to this end goal of create conversation. And I'm going to speak on each of these. Before getting to each activity, the way in which we do this, in addition to this end goal of create conversation, when my partner and I are sitting down and we're thinking about timing, location, whether that's online where we're targeting or physically, momentum and density drives that decision. So instead of spreading out across the country, we're doing a truck wrap, which I'll show in a second. We've been doing this in New York for the past few months. Let's do 5 of them in New York. Let's do wheat pasting in New York. Let's do sidewalk stickers in New York. Let's do events in New York and focus on density, whether it's geographically with a particular group of people, as opposed to sprinkling it out. And the analogy that I like to use is if you take matchsticks and you're trying to create a fire and you want that fire to light and spread, the matchsticks need to be close to each other and you need to have that density, and then you need to have momentum to drive that density. So for the past few months, we've been running 5 delivery trucks. They're not delivering Jolies. They're actually going to hotels, picking up laundry, taking it to the laundromat and bringing it back. We, instead of using a beautiful image, as most brands would do, which gets lost in the noise, let's create something that's A, visually arresting, B, is a question, not a statement, though at the end of the day it is a statement. It forces you to think about it. And let's do something that's specific to the medium. So we were inspired by a dirty van or dirty truck that someone might take their fingers and write, "Wash me." Instead, we said, what if we told you that your shower water was dirtier than this truck? So it's a verbiage, but also the visual backs up what we're saying, and it's a question, so it forces you to think about it. Dan, who's sitting here in the front row, executed upon that, went to Home Depot, bought some dirt, white foam board, photographed it. He wrote, finger painted. That's his artwork up on the screen. There's a few things that he's done that I'll be showing. Your shower water is dirtier than that martini. So we wanted to engage, again, take this comparison of there's something that we do every single day that we haven't really thought about, the water that we shower in. We launched a sidewalk sticker campaign, first in New York, now LA, Miami, and Chicago, and we have 5 different phrases that are highly specific to the location where we've put each phrase. One example is, and they're all variations of the phrase, your shower water is ... Your shower water is dirtier than that martini, outside Lucien, outside Balthazar, outside Raoul's, outside the Odeon. Your shower water is giving your hairdresser nightmares, outside IGK Salon, Cutler Salon. Your shower water is dirtier than the subway handle, outside the subway station. Your shower water is aging you 10 years, outside all the Sephoras, et cetera, et cetera. Again, create conversation, get people engaged when they're in that state of mind where they might be, just finished a martini and they see this on the street. Wheat paste. Again, not a beautiful image of a woman showering. This was for Valentine's Day. And what we wanted to do is have 2 separate series of copy, one oriented towards men, which is on the bottom, one oriented towards women. And again, this lens of create conversation. Let's take a quote-unquote tacky or expected Valentine's Day gift, one that is maybe appreciated but not really what a woman needs, and only a woman can say what she needs is our perspective, so that's why that's written in first person, whereas we use want very specifically when it's spoken to a man. I don't need chocolate, I need my hair to stop breaking. I don't need roses, I need my wrinkles to go the fuck away. Let's create conversation around that when everyone's talking about flowers and getting that reservation that everyone wants. It's actually her skin and her hair that she cares about. April Fools. Less about lens of water. This is more, let's engage in cultural pop moments. This was the week of the 2nd episode of Succession this past last season. Succession, if I imagine most people here watch it or are at least familiar, family dysfunction is at the core of the show. Well, the key to surviving family dysfunction is this space that we talk about separately, the shower, which is a meditative space as much as it is a space to clean yourself. So there's a clear connection here between this is the key to surviving dysfunction, it's the shower, and it's actually their Jolie shower head, and each of them have their own version of the Jolie that they've collaborated specific to that character. This was one of our most highly engaged posts. The year before for April Fools, we did 7 different collaborations ranging from Tiffany to Hermes to Byredo to Supreme to Apple. And we still have people reaching out asking if we have the Tiffany or Apple shower head. Again, create conversation. This is very specifically conversation. We have a Shower Thoughts interview series where we interview friends, members of our community, whether we got to know them through gifting product or we knew them already. And it has nothing to do with your skincare routine, nothing to do with your hair care routine. It's inspired by Proust's questionnaire. The shower, again, is a space not only where we clean ourselves physically, it might be meditative. It's a great thinking session. We all know shower thoughts and have had a shower thought. So let's embrace that and focus on, again, people influence people. Collaborations, we call it Très Jolie. This is, again, not a collaboration on the shower head itself, but what might sit to the left and the right of the shower head. We did a slide from a shoe brand called Lusso, based in California. Post-shower on a Sunday, that's what we recommend you wear. And then a sun hat, which was inspired, and this is, again, going to water, the ocean. And you'll see on the top, there's the sand, the white foam of the ocean, and then the varying blues. And these are fun not product launches, but marketing pieces. Erewhon. So we launched an Erewhon about 6 weeks ago. We were able to convince them to not just put Jolie on the shelf, but allow us to build an actual shower. It's not a functioning shower, but we wanted to build something beautiful. It's porcelain tile. We have the Jolie mounted up top, as you can see, some eucalyptus and dried flowers. But we wanted the copy to embrace the Erewhon customer, and Erewhon, as if you are familiar, the butt of many jokes, even though those that are making the jokes love it. So Erewhon worthy shower water. And in those 6 weeks, they've literally reordered over 50 times. And it is a function of this flying off the shelves, but also they don't really have a good stock room. Events, and I'll go through these pretty quickly. We use this lens of water to engage in an event where I'm not in front of a room with a microphone and a bunch of slides talking about shower heads and how to install them. But let's do an interesting dinner that's inspired by water. The chef, Paris Starn, put together a 3-course menu. Each, and this was 2 months prior to launch, the first event we ever did, each dish was inspired by a different state of water, liquid, vapor, solid. That was what the conversation was about. This event in May of last year was all about oysters and wine. Every brand, of course, can host a food and drink event. Who doesn't like oysters? Who doesn't like drinking wine? What we wanted to do is engage a little bit further with that theme. Oysters are a natural water filter. One oyster can filter 50 gallons of water a day. New York City used to be the oyster capital of the world. That's no longer the case. There's an organization called the Billion Oyster Project. They're working to restore the oyster reefs around the harbor to clean New York City's water. We do work with them and donate to them, but what we did here, and this is stolen by something that they've done in their events, is the morning of the event, I was in the East River picking up water just off of Greenpoint, and I put that water into 2 tanks. One tank, and that's the tank on the left, had 16 oysters in it. The tank on the right had 0 oysters. Throughout the course of the evening, about 2 hours into it, the tank with 16 oysters became clear. And this was all happening in the background. It wasn't a science project demonstration, but something that was just a layer deeper as to why Jolie is doing an event with oysters, aside from loving oysters. Camp Jolie, this is something we do in Amagansett. I drove from Amagansett for this talk tonight, and again, everything here deals with water and how we show up from an event perspective. This was another water-inspired dinner. This is an event we're doing next Friday. It's a sushi and sake tasting on a sailboat in Sag Harbor during sunset. That's a lot of S's. Sushi, obviously connected to water. Sake, 80% water. Last night I was actually with the sake sommelier who will be leading the tasting. It's intimate in nature. There's going to be 16 people, and he'll lead us through a journey talking about how water is integral to the sake that we're drinking and the sushi that we're eating. We won't be talking about shower heads. A State of Flow with Kim Struther, amazing yoga teacher, meditation as well. We'll be doing yoga by the pool and meditation then in the pool, and it all will be about a state of flow, which is connected to, water has movement, it also has stillness, and those 2 qualities are inherent in yoga, holding poses that move and really rely on your movement. So that will be the theme for that event. And then happy to answer any questions.